Hi everyone, I hope this video finds you well. I thought it'd be an opportune time now to touch base with regards to a topic which we get asked about quite a lot at the minute, and I find particularly in periods of volatility, which is of course how we shape portfolios and what we're doing behind the scenes when it comes to, I guess, the fund management approach we take to both hiring and firing fund managers, selecting them in the first place, globally how we research which are the best fund managers to use, and effectively what's happening, I guess, in between meetings in terms of the monitoring that goes on, which is the reason why, I guess, fundamentally you're here. The reason why people take advice as opposed to self-investing is the amount of time that would need to be spent to both research and continually benchmark and monitor fund management performance. And that's something which we arguably haven't historically shared in any great detail. So the purpose of this video, hopefully it's useful, is to touch base on some of those key concepts that are involved in that process. There's some attached information for you to read at your own leisure. And as always, it goes with the view of once you've digested it, please come back with any thoughts and questions you have, and we'll happily go through those on an individual basis. Just before we go into the content, I'm also pleased to announce that we've, of course, recently sent out our latest fund manager webinar that's happening in the next couple of weeks with regards to the Emerging Markets Fund. And as a reminder, all of the previous fund manager webinars we've done are, of course, recorded, and those can be accessed. And again, we'll create a link on this email so that you can access those as well. And if you've never watched one, please do try one, because they are fascinating to actually hear from a fund manager face to face who's talking about where he or she sees the world moving forward, and of course the opportunities and risks that they perceive that we face as investors. And again, they offer some invaluable insight to their thought process that goes through to it, which it ties in nicely with what we're going to cover today. We've also pleased to announce, and we'll be sending this across very soon, an invite for an event we're going to run in June, which is going to be based in the Leeds office, and effectively inviting you to come and listen again to Darren Johnson, our head of investment communications for the entire company, who is going to come and give us a thorough market update. And the people who attended last year really enjoyed the content that effectively Darren was able to share, with a few tweaks from the comments we got back. So hopefully all of that's really useful moving forward. And again, I hope this is a nice insight to a slightly different topic which we haven't touched before. When St James's Place started out, right back in 1992, we, along with other founding partners, decided to build our team of fund managers in a fairly radical way at that time. Instead of pinning all of ours and your hopes on in-house fund managers to invest your money, we chose, I guess, talent from across the globe. After all, you never find all the world's greatest fund managers all together in one investment house, and we're very conscious of that. Just like, I guess, any sector of work, managers come and go and move in funds and companies over the years. So it's wise for us to diversify and not just rely on one or two fund managers. We'd rather take a broader approach, accessing talented managers globally and monitoring them, of course, with regularity. That's ultimately what we all want. On this graphic now on screen, you can see just how far spread our fund managers are, from Amundi in Milan right through to London's 24, and of course, as you can see, Wellington Management, who are based in Boston. And that gives you a true reflection of how globally diversified the portfolios can be. In this next slide, and the highlighted cells you can see in grey, are the fund managers operating equally that are exclusive only to you as clients of Pentelow Wealth Management and St James's Place. Choosing this type of approach of using multiple external fund managers carries, of course, numerous benefits. First and foremost, I would certainly argue it gives us the freedom to select from some of the very best fund managers across the globe. If we lose confidence in them, and this is a key thing, we can change fund managers quickly. And the key thing is at short notice, without you being liable to capital gains or income tax implications, or of course excessive charges. We can act instantly. We can give your investments real diversification using this model, spreading your money across various funds with different managers, different styles, different outlooks, looking at the world differently. And that's, of course, key. We manage risk by choosing and combining fund managers, of course, carefully from different disciplines. This gives our investments scope to produce added value over, of course, the medium term. Nowadays, of course, it's common for businesses to copy that approach, our multi-fund manager style, but we're still different, we believe, in many ways. Most other businesses in our area have an interest in directing business to funds managed in-house. Ultimately, that maximises their own company profits. We have no such conflict of interest or, in fact, investment bias. We choose fund managers based on their skills in an active management style rather than following any given benchmarks. So now hopefully that gives you a little bit more of a feel about our multi-fund manager approach with the attached documentation. When you choose someone to manage your money, how can you be sure that you've made the right choice? I guess now and moving forward in the future. And how can you monitor the fund manager you've chosen to make sure they're still doing a good job, not just at outset, but of course over time? Our solution, we believe, is effective in doing that. This is largely tied, of course, to the investment committee. Pulling all of this together is effectively what we refer to as the investment committee, who work with your interests and those of all of our clients to manage the fund managers, which we have just talked about how we allocate them to your portfolio. This is with the aim, of course, of bringing superior results over the medium and longer term, and it does so by keeping a close eye on the managers and the companies that they work for. This is a small group of executives who make up the committee, and it includes both St James's Place and non-St James's Place staff who meet with regularity to review the fund performance of your investments and that of the managers. They keep your managers accountable, and if any changes are needed, they make sure they happen both quickly and easily. And that's important. The fund management team meeting every 2 months. If you'd like more information on the investment committee members, refer to the attached documentation which I've put alongside this video for you to read about the individuals in particular. Successful investment can be a tricky business, of course, and future performance, as we all know, is never clear-cut. The unpredictability of the market means that no matter how successful a manager has been in the past, there's no guarantee that that will, of course, continue. If we're to look after your future, we must keep tabs on them both now and in the future, and prevention, of course, is better than the cure. And that's why ultimately the approach we believe works. The frequency with which we, of course, monitor the fund managers and analyse their performance and benchmarking. The SJP Investment Committee meets at least 6 times a year, depending on market conditions. Meetings include fund manager presentations, which gives us personally a chance to question the fund managers closely and carefully looking in within each of their portfolios to make sure their views and strategies remain relevant. Each meeting, the committee makes crucial decisions about the best way forward, and effectively it's important to share it has 4 main options. Firstly, they can leave the portfolio of managers unchanged, of course. The committee can be confident your funds are being managed well. Secondly, they can keep the investment company the same, but change the fund manager. The departure of a manager might trigger the decision, but ultimately this can be for a variety of reasons. They can equally change both the investment house and also the fund manager in one go. Finally, they can introduce a new investment fund or strategy to improve overall opportunities. And again, that goes back to the amount of research we're doing all of the time. No two people want to invest in the same way, of course. Not all clients have the same needs. We all view risk differently. We all have different outcomes and timescales. With such a range of talented fund managers, we have a match, I guess, to suit all of those requirements. It's our job to match those to you. To help you find them, we've put together an A to Z of our fund managers with this guide. So we've been able to put faces to the names. And I think sometimes we get lost in talking about the fund names, but of course, giving you that ability to look at the individuals involved, who they are, which fund they're linked to, and how that fits within your portfolio. I've included this in the accompanying email, so you can click on it after you've watched this video. What if the marketplace calls for the replacement of a manager? Well, we make it happen. The investment committee might do this for a number of reasons, of course, of which we've touched on some of them. For example, in the short term, it could be performance issues. It could be a change in those involved in the fund's management. It could be managers failing to follow the policies and disciplines that they committed to initially. It could be structural changes within the investment company themselves. But this should not concern you. This all happens seamlessly. You don't need to do a thing. And in actual fact, on the screen now, you can see some of the changes that we're scrolling through that have taken place over the last 18 months. And I've included this as an attachment to the email to this video so you can have a read through in your own time. But I feel it really does clarify how often this is happening. In general, exceptional investors rely on skillful stock selection to perform better than their peers. Our investment committee, of course, uses a range of tools to analyse and assess these skills. The aim is to avoid managers who occasionally do well simply by betting on the direction of the market. We're not short-termist. Our managers typically take what we would class as a bottom-up approach. What I mean by this is they're looking at the fundamentals of individual stocks rather than sectors or just regions to identify quality investments. This makes growth more likely to be repeatable, and we're not relying on a bet on the market in any one particular area. It's all about ultimately that ongoing due diligence. Our investment approach, therefore, in summary, means you get constant expert analysis as well as a targeted support from independent consultants. It's of huge strategic benefit, we believe, and we hope it brings you, in this content, a little bit of peace of mind. If at any point, of course, you want to ask questions now with regards to your own approach, how these fund managers' styles fit within your changing outlook or attitude to risk, that's the whole purpose of this video. Please don't hesitate to come back with your individual questions. Like I said, digest all the information. I hope it's useful, certainly for those people who prompted this type of content. I hope it ticks the box of what you were looking for. And please, like I said, do engage where possible with the forthcoming events, as what we continue to want to do is ensure that you feel confident and reassured when times are good, when times are bad, but ultimately outside of that as well, that we have a structure and a strategy that you reassures you that your hard-earned money is in good hands. Thanks again for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you all.